Hello and welcome to AWS Summit Singapore. I'm really excited to be here in person. It's been a while and glad to see everybody here in person as well. My name is Murthy Chapadi. I lead APJ Partner Solutions team at AWS. I've been at Amazon for about 3 years and I'm based out of Sydney, Australia. So our customers and partners are always looking for ways to reduce operational incidents and improve service quality. So in this session, I'm going to talk about how you can boost your serverless application availability with AIOps on AWS, how you can add intelligence to your IT operations without need to maintain your own machine learning models. So I'll start off with going through some of the challenges in IT operations our customers are experiencing, and then cover the trends around we see in modernizing IT operations, and introduce to the concept of AIOps, so trending topic, and explain how we implement AIOps on AWS. So I will discuss about the main features and the building blocks of Amazon DevOps Guru, our fully managed AIOps solution. And I will also explain about the new feature, log anomaly detection for DevOps Guru. So I'll go through a typical serverless use case and show you the demo on how DevOps Guru can help identifying operational issues with using ML in your serverless stack. And I'll also show you a demo on how you can easily enable DevOps Guru. So I will close the session with some of the suggested next steps, and we'll have some 10 minutes for questions and answers. Organizations today, regardless of their size or in which markets they operate, under constant pressure to innovate faster and reduce costs in varying business environments and ever-changing IT landscape. Maintaining application availability is always a challenge. As applications are increasingly distributed and complex, IT operations teams looking at more automated practices to reduce time and effort in detecting, debugging, and resolving operational issues manually. So I'm sure a lot of people understand the failures in IT operations. And I'm sure you remember the famous quote from our CTO, Werner Ogles, everything fails all the time. So we need to be anticipating failures in IT operations. I'm curious to know how many of you were actually called at a midnight or on a weekend or when you are on vacation to attend an ongoing operational issue, especially unplanned outages. Please raise your hands if you were in the situation before. You have been called? Yes, quite a few, right? So that's part of IT operations, and I can resonate with you. I would like to share my personal experience. So some time back, I was working for this large enterprise. This enterprise had 3,000 plus applications. So like every large enterprise, they organize end of year parties. I was at one of the end of year party. We were the 1,000 plus people at the party. We were all having good time. All of a sudden, some of us were asked to go back to office. Can you guess what could be the reason? So there was a P1 incident and online services were down. So we went back to the office. It took us a couple of hours to bring the services back online, and the post-event analysis went on for weeks. So when you are in that situation, when you start looking at dashboards, alarms, the overwhelming number of alarms can cause alarm fatigue and an inability to identify what matters most. And the variety and velocity of the logs and metrics, you need to worry across the applications and across the resources is quite challenging. And as the data spreads across these resources, correlating the data to the current issue or even to a specific resource is not easy. So reducing MTTR is very important. MTTR is mean time to repair, an average time it takes to repair a system after its failure. So for example, if you have taken 4 hours to fix a system last week, and if you have taken 2 hours, so the average is the MTTR is 3 hours. So by reducing the MTTR, you're reducing the expensive downtime and making sure applications are highly available, and which is quite challenging. So when you look at the traditional IT workflow today, you see these applications in your IT landscape. And as we see the shift towards microservices-based architectures, these applications are further compounded into many microservices. And these applications, microservices, this produce logs, metrics, trace data, and you will be configuring like thresholds, notifications, and dashboards for making sure applications are monitored and the applications are available and they're running smoothly. So when you do this, and next day or next week, your application requirements are changing. You may have to add new resources. You may be removing resources. Probably you have to uplift the infrastructure capacity to support the increased traffic. So that means on a regular basis, you need to keep changing these thresholds and dashboards dynamically. It's heavy lifting and it's all manual. This configuration is a burden for IT operations team. But essentially, you have covered the issues what you know. So for example, when you configure alarm, okay, CPU exceeds 80%, yes, you will configure alarm. But when you have issues like that you're not even looking for, it's very hard to understand, because with IT monitoring, you're only covering the issues what you know. But what about the issues you're not even looking for? That means you have gaps in monitoring coverage. So perhaps you have some automated mechanisms for creating tickets, sending notifications to the operations team when there is an operational issue. But when operations teams get notified of an issue, someone has to still manually go to the logs to determine, is it a real alarm or is it a temporary hiccup? So you need to go through these logs to determine what is actually happening. So what if we could use AI to parse through this noise and surface the signal and add intelligence so that you can identify the operational issues efficiently, and use AI to detect the behaviors that deviate from normal operational patterns so that you can identify operational issues intelligently, is also known as AIOps for monitoring. So this is where AIOps comes in. So by using advanced machine learning techniques comes with AIOps, you can reduce incidents and you can improve service quality. With AIOps, you can automatically analyze metric anomalies, and you can auto-detect issues you may not be even looking for, and you can reduce the noise and even provide context to your operations team when they get notified of a potential issue. So let's look at what AWS can offer that can help you add intelligence to your IT operations without need of creating or maintaining your own machine learning models. Help you avoid that heavy burden and start thinking about how we can leverage few services within AWS so that you can easily start thinking about using AI for your IT operations. So how do we implement AIOps on AWS? So at the bottom, you see these input signals from AWS resources. So considering the theme is serverless, I'm going to take Lambda as an example. So when you run Lambda, you get these CloudWatch vended metrics, like number of invocations, duration or latency, or error rate, and so on. And you get CloudWatch logs. These are all out of the box. By default, you get these metrics and logs. And you can enable config events, and you can enable CloudTrail events, and also you can enable trace data using AWS X-Ray. In case of RDS, you can enable performance insights. So you have to set alarms across these resources with these metrics and log data and also visualization dashboards for your 24/7 operations. So as we discussed, this is all manual and heavy lifting, and when resource requirements are changing, applications are changing, it's very difficult to keep it up to date. So that means scaling is almost near impossible. And this is where we add AI ML layer called Amazon DevOps Guru. It's a fully managed AIOps solution from AWS. So this will help you to augment your IT operations using the machine learning techniques. So DevOps Guru continuously analyzes and consolidates the streams of operational data from these multiple sources and produces insights that help you identify and resolve operational issues quickly. So let's go through some of the main features of DevOps Guru. First and foremost, it's very easy to use. You can enable it with just super easy, just few clicks. And you can configure by defining the analysis coverage. There's no configuration. You just have to define what is the analysis coverage. And there is no machine learning skills required, and it is fully managed. So once you enable and define the analysis coverage, DevOps Guru automatically starts monitoring the data and metrics to understand your application behavior. DevOps Guru leverages these pre-trained machine learning models informed by years of experience from Amazon.com and AWS operational excellence. So these models can identify anomalous application behavior such as increased latency, error rates, or resource constraints, and surface critical issues that could cause potential outages or service disruptions. And DevOps Guru helps you reduce your resolution time by providing a single console dashboard where you can visualize and search anomalies in your operational data. So when you add new resources, it automatically starts ingesting data from those new resources, and scaling is automatic. There is no configuration required. And DevOps Guru reduce that noise and surface the signal by correlating and grouping related anomalies with detailed insights to provide a quicker MTTR, which is mean time to repair. So let's look at how the service works. So you have these applications in your standard IT landscape. So these applications will be comprising AWS resources. And these resources, as we discussed, they leverage CloudWatch, CloudTrail, X-Ray for logs, tracing in case of RDS, performance insights. And all this data gets funneled into DevOps Guru. So DevOps Guru has got these machine learning models for metric anomalies and log detection anomalies. And DevOps Guru also leverage CloudFormation data. So this helps DevOps Guru from the event history standpoint. So it correlates the stack deployments with operational issues. So together with this, DevOps Guru can produce insights, because when you have logs and metrics, yes, you know that there is an issue, but you need to understand what has triggered. Was it your deployment? So in that way, we need to have those data from CloudFormation as well, so that DevOps Guru can tell, okay, you have done a deployment, that's when the anomaly started, so that it can provide that relevant events. So the insights will have the insight summary, and it also give you that aggregated metrics. Normally you have to go through all the metrics, but DevOps Guru tells you this is the top 3 metrics, and it will give you relevant events. Hey, this anomaly started when you did something like stack deployment. So in that way, it is just pointing you to the right direction in a single pane of glass. And it gives you the recommendations. Hey, you have done something, do you think? It won't fix the problem, because that something that gives you informed decisions to the operations team to identify issues. So you can also leverage Amazon SNS simple notification service to send notifications to our operations team, and you can leverage Event Bridge for integrating with Ops Center, also third-party applications like PagerDuty or OpsGD, so that you don't need to change your automated notification mechanisms. It can easily integrate. So here is a cool new feature I was referring to earlier. Log anomaly detection for DevOps Guru was introduced in July this year. So as we know, applications can generate relevant metrics as data points to identify the performance issues. However, more often, metrics alone are not adequate to identify the root cause of the problem. So you need to go through the logs to validate your findings from metrics. Sometimes you find new issues from the logs. So DevOps Guru leverages these log detection machine learning models to look through Amazon CloudWatch logs and surface appropriate log groups. And it extracts enrichment data like HTTP status codes, exception keywords, log format anomalies, numerical anomalies, and so on. And additionally, a log sample for each anomaly along with a deep link to Amazon CloudWatch log group will be provided. So combining these anomalous metrics with contextualized logs, it will help you, DevOps Guru, provide a deeper and more precise recommendations. We will be looking at adding more CloudWatch logs for the resources. Currently, it supports DynamoDB and Lambda. We will be looking at adding logs from more resources, and also will continue to add new sets of recommendations, and also will continue to fine-tune the models to be more accurate and precise. So before I explain the serverless use case, let's have a quick recap. So we have gone through the challenges in IT operations. What are the modernization trends? What is AIOps, and how do we implement AIOps on AWS? What is DevOps Guru, and how DevOps Guru works, and what is log anomaly detection? So now I'm going to explain you how the DevOps Guru can be applied a typical serverless stack. So in this typical serverless stack is a CloudFormation stack. You know this, standard API gateway for servicing both static and dynamic content. And then you have forwarding API gateway, forwarding request to Lambda. So Lambda will be invoking other Lambda functions, or in this case, it is calling DynamoDB in the backend. And these serverless resources produce logs, metrics, and trace data. And you will be having these dashboards or alarms set for this monitoring, and it is all manual. We know that it is going to be cumbersome, and whenever some spikes happens, something like failure happens, DynamoDB is throttling, you need to go through all the logs, you need to go through the dashboards. So that's the typical serverless case. So now I have set up a small demo to explain you the power of DevOps Guru. So I have simulated an operational event by following few simple steps. So first what I did was I have reduced the read capacity of DynamoDB from 5 to 1. So basically I have just narrowed the bandwidth, so it doesn't have the capacity. And I have updated the CloudFormation stack and I have deployed it. So once the deployment is completed, the CloudFormation stack update is completed, so I have started injecting a high amount of HTTP traffic targeting the API gateway. So after 10 minutes or so, I can see that there is an anomaly that is the insight produced, and I'm going to show in that demo how DevOps Guru is going to pick up that anomaly and help you identify that operational instance. Let's have a look at this demo.
In this demo, you will see how DevOps Guru correlates anomalies in metrics with operational events to produce reactive or proactive contextual insights. Let's go to DevOps Guru from AWS Admin Console. Since we have already enabled DevOps Guru, it will take you to the dashboard page directly. Under normal conditions, DevOps Guru dashboard will show the ongoing insights counted to be 0. It monitors a high number of metrics behind the scenes using pre-trained machine learning models to detect deviations. It raises an alert in the form of an insight only when anomaly occurs. Based on the operational issues we have simulated in the serverless stack, DevOps Guru dashboard shows there is an impacted stacks and there is an ongoing reactive insight and an ongoing proactive insight. It also shows total resources analyzed last hour as 3, since the serverless stack consists of API gateway, Lambda, and DynamoDB. So let's have a look at the reactive insight DevOps Guru has produced. So the insight is divided into 5 sections. Insight overview, aggregated metrics, log groups, relevant events, and recommendations. So let's take a closer look into these sections. In the insight overview section, it shows the high-level overview of the insight. You can see the severity of the insight and also status of the insight, whether it is closed or ongoing, and also how many AWS Cloud Formation stacks are impacted, and also when the insight started, ended, and was last updated, and the related operations item if there is one. In the aggregated metrics section, it shows metrics for all the resources that it detected anomalies. In this case, API gateway experiencing 5xx errors, Lambda invocations are increasing, and DynamoDB reads are throttled. So note that depending upon your traffic pattern, Lambda settings, baseline traffic, the list of metrics may vary. When we select graphed anomalies, it shows the graphs for all related resources. So this section shows a snippet showing anomaly for API gateway, Lambda invocations, and also DynamoDB, the read throttling events. In the log group section, you can view Amazon CloudWatch log groups that are related to your insight. So now we check the relevant event section, which lists potential triggers for the issue. So the events listed here are depending on the set of operations carried out on the CloudFormation stacks resources in this region. So this makes it easy for operators to be reminded of a change that may have caused this issue. So the dots here are the representation of events, and any events close to the inside start timeline or particular of interest. So in this case, so the event shows that we have updated the stack. So now we scroll down to the recommendation section, which provides prescribed guidance for mitigating this anomaly. As you see, it recommends to roll back the configuration change related to the read capacity for the DynamoDB table. It also lists related metrics and the related event, which is like we did the update a cloud formation stack, which we have reduced the read capacity from 5 to 1. As you see, DevOps Guru can continuously monitor the resources in your AWS account in a typical production environment. So when it detects an anomaly, it generates an insight, which includes the vendor CloudWatch metrics that breach the threshold, the cloud formation stack in which the resources existed, relevant events that could be potential triggers, and actionable recommendations to mitigate the condition. So now,
So in the demo, we have seen how DevOps Guru has picked up that issue, what I have simulated. Like I have reduced the DynamoDB read capacity, so it picked up and it also provided that aggregated metrics, the top three about API gateway having that 5xx errors, Lambda and invocations are increasing, and DynamoDB is throttling. And it is also provided recommendation. You have done the cloud formation stack update. That's when I have started seeing the problems. So probably better roll back the issue. So that means it is giving you an informed decision, helping you to make that decision so that you can go back and roll back that change of what you have done. And it are also capable of providing some proactive insights. And proactive insights, like it can identify any configuration issues. For example, if you haven't enabled point-in-time recovery backup for DynamoDB, it will tell you proactively once DevOps Guru is enabled and it starts monitoring your coverage, it will tell, okay, there is a point-in-time recovery is not updated. Normally, you wouldn't notice that until you have a problem and you realize that you haven't got the backup. But DevOps Guru is helping you say that, hey, you better enable that. So now I'm going to show you the demo how to enable DevOps Guru. So how simple it can be. You can enable it with a few clicks. So let's go through this demo.
in this demo, you will see how to enable Amazon DevOps Guru. Let's go to Amazon DevOps Guru service from AWS Admin Console. So when you access DevOps Guru first time, you will find our home page. Here on this page, you will find more information on how it works, features and benefits, pricing, and links to documentation and API reference. If you scroll back up and click on this Get Started button, you will be taken to the Get Started page. On this page, you can choose how you want to set up DevOps Guru. IAM role is created by default when you enable DevOps Guru and permissions are granted to evaluate your AWS resources. If you scroll further down, you will be taken to the Analysis Coverage section. Here, you are choosing which application and workloads you would like DevOps Guru to monitor. You can select Analyze all resources in the current account, or you can select Choose Later, which will allow you to pick from the existing cloud formation stacks that are in that account. In this demo, we are going to enable DevOps Guru for all resources. Further below, you see that you have the optional setting here related to SNS or simple notification service. If you enable this notification, you can receive alerts. You can also integrate with certain third-party tools which we have discussed before. Let's go ahead and click the Enable button here. This completes DevOps Guru onboarding process and it will bring you here to the dashboard page. If you want to change the analysis coverage boundary option, you can click on Analyze Resources and it will take you to DevOps Guru analysis coverage page. If you want to change the analysis coverage boundary option, you can edit the coverage and you have an option to choose the cloud formation tags in your AWS account. You can choose tags if you want to have an option to analyze all resources that contain the tags you choose. You can choose none if you do not want DevOps Guru to analyze any resources. This option disables DevOps Guru so that you stop incurring charges from resource analyzation. Please note that DevOps Guru analysis is unavailable until we define the service coverage. Once you enable DevOps Guru and choose the analysis coverage option, it may take up to 24 hours for DevOps Guru to start collecting metrics and determine a baseline to detect any anomalies.
So we have seen how easy to enable DevOps Guru. You just have to define whether it is cloud formation stacks you want to monitor, or you enable it for the entire organization or entire account, or define with tags. So now I'll encourage you to pick up a workload to enable DevOps Guru. It could be your performance testing environment where you can simulate the operational issues easily, or it could be your production environment. So once you enable DevOps Guru, it's so easy to start having the coverage, and you can see that it will take some 24 hours to 48 hours for baselining. So during that baselining, it's trying to understand your application behavior so that you can detect the anomalies. And once the insights are produced, you can see, if it is a performance testing environment, you can understand what you have simulated is DevOps Guru able to pick, and how your business SLA, service SLAs are tracking. So I highly encourage you to enable DevOps Guru and provide feedback. So that's all I have, and thank you very much. And I would like to take questions if you have any. And this is our certification content, and Skill Builder is one of the for in-demand skills, and I highly encourage you to get certified to validate your AWS skills. So for myself personally, I have 12 AWS certifications, and it is helping me immensely to understand the breadth and depth of AWS services. So please go to the certification content, and thank you very much. I hope you have some learnings. So thank you. You want the mic? You have the question. Thank you. I think Adrian has got a question.
The DevOps group provides the monitoring for other cloud resources, say Azure or Google, or it's just specific to AWS?
Good question. So at this stage, DevOps Guru is only for AWS specific services, but yes, in future we could be extending it to other third-party applications, and we are working with partners as well. There are some solutions in marketplace, and also our partners are having this cloud operations offers the consulting solutions. So I would like to catch up with you after this to understand your requirements so that we can help you.
I have a question. Yeah. Yes. So basically, when we enable this monitoring, right? So is there any chance that we can have false alarm, or do we have to have special type of logging in our system to understand is there any anomalies?
Very good question. So there are two parts. One is the cost. DevOps Guru is free for first 3 months for up to 70 to 100 hours of operation. So DevOps Guru, when you enable, it is charged based on the number of hours, not on the alarms it is producing. It is just the usage of the service. So once it is producing that insights, so you will have it on the single dashboard. So you also have a cost estimate in the DevOps Guru console where you can understand your costs for your environment. But typically, if you have a one DynamoDB table, probably if you use it for like continuously 24 hours for 1 month, it would cost you like $30, $35. So it is that much cheap. Okay, false alarms, that basically there is no charge because you are only gets charged for the usage. So any false alarms, I would like you to identify. If you think that we can provide the feedback to us. So we have machine learning models continuously fine-tuned for recommendation to be more precise. So we expect, because the predictive analytics from the DevOps Guru. So please provide the feedback in case when you try the DevOps Guru, if you have any that false alarms, please let us know.
Hi. Thanks for the presentation. Very good, very insightful. Just on the point about cost, which you were mentioning, is there any other services which are aligned with DevOps Guru, which may incur additional costs other than the free, beyond the free tier that you have for DevOps Guru? The cost that we are going to incur on DevOps Guru, are there any other service costs which are associated with it?
Yeah, excellent question. So DevOps Guru, the charges are different for different services. So the DynamoDB example I gave you is like, for typical 1 month usage, you get costs. So DevOps Guru can be enabled for like ECS, EKS, RDS. So depending on the service, the cost varies. So we have a pricing list on the DevOps Guru page, so you can easily estimate, and we also have the scenarios how to calculate the pricing. But yes, DevOps Guru covers a broad range of services, and each service will have different pricing model, and you can calculate based on the scenarios and also costing estimate on the DevOps Guru console. But first 70 to 100 hours are free for any service.
In one of your slides, you mentioned that the DevOps Guru finding or the alert will be able to trace it back to a cloud formation change.
Yes.
So can DevOps Guru connect to my source control management, source code management tool like Bitbucket or GitHub? And then can it trace it back to what changed from the code or what pull request triggered this alert?
Yes, excellent question. So currently, if you look at the analysis coverage boundary, so DevOps Guru is getting the input signal from cloud formation stack. It doesn't have any connectivity with your Bitbucket, or because once cloud formation stack is updated, that you are updating using the AWS CLI or console. But you can always backtrack when that cloud formation stack was, which version that produced by the Bitbucket or GitHub. So there is no direct tracing, but there is an easy way of connecting the dots. But this will tell you have updated the cloud formation stack at 2:30 p.m. on this day. But you know that when that you run the CI/CD pipeline, which version you have produced at 2:30 p.m. So in that way, you just have to connect the dots. But yeah, so there is no direct way of tracking the Bitbucket. Yes.
Okay, we have one last question, and then we'll close the session. Please don't hesitate to approach Muti directly.
Hey, Muti,
Yeah.
thanks for the
So
presentation.
just in the meantime, if you can just
For the rest of us, please provide us feedback how we can improve.
So
on.
your feedback is very important.
Thank you.
Because we constantly improve on how we deliver and how we do the sessions. Please feel free to please.
Hey, my question is, for enterprise customers, they might be having hundreds of accounts, right? Can we have a centralized dashboard for DevOps Guru so that single pane of glass to view multiple accounts?
Awesome. So DevOps Guru can be enabled across organizations like any other service. You can have service control policies applied to DevOps Guru across organizations. It's pretty much like it can access information from other accounts so that you can have a single dashboard covering all the accounts in your organization. So it will assume the role like any other organization and service control policies. It will follow the same pattern, and you can have single dashboard covering all the accounts in that organization.
Thanks, Moti.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Moti.
Yeah.
All
Thank
the way
you so
from
much.
Sydney.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moti. We will close the sessions officially. So we actually have a networking sessions at level 4, networking and snacks. Please refer to your schedule. Have a great day. Thank you.